What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So, man, Florida prison system is Florida prison system, but the California prison system is two different ball games. So my guest today has been to prison in California, and we're going to hear how people do time in California's prison. So, man, just to introduce you to the subscribers and people watching this, what is your name, man, and where are you from?
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Darren. I'm also known as Deadlock, which is my music name. I've been doing music for a long time, and I'm from California.
That's what's up, man. So what kind of music do you do?
I've been doing hip hop since probably like 1998, so for a long time.
Man, that's what's up, bro. How was it growing up for you in Cali?
California is like got a gangbang culture, so I wasn't really raised like that, but I was raised around it. And me personally, it was hard for me because I never really fit in with that culture. So it's like at some point in my life, I had to figure out like how can I fit in to this situation, because I was always shy and scared and getting picked on and bullied in school. So I started getting locked up in my teens, and once I went to juvenile hall the first time, it's where everything really changed for me at that point.
Yeah. So what led you to juvenile hall?
Actually, I was a tagger, so
Graffiti?
I was out there spray painting on buildings and shit. So I obviously wasn't too good at it because I got caught like multiple times and got sent to juvenile hall multiple times behind that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, we all got caught. So I know you said it's a gangbanging culture, and you had a rough childhood growing up. Like, what was rough about it growing up? Was it because you didn't want to join the gangs, or was it because you didn't agree with the politics?
It wasn't that I didn't want to join; I just wanted to fit in. But the type of environment that I was raised around was nothing but drug addicts and alcoholics and homeless people. And until my mom, she divorced my real dad when I was like 5 years old, and then married my stepdad. So I wasn't raised in an environment where it was like a lot of that shit going on. I was raised in a Christian household, but I just felt like I needed some way, like some way to protect myself. I needed to join some sort of organization, or somehow be a part of something. You know what I mean? So I just started venturing out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what organization did you link up with?
The Surenos.
Okay.
So
So,
and
did you do that when you went to the juvenile
in
programs in prison?
Yeah, in juvenile hall, I mean, I started, I made a bunch of friends in juvenile hall that were of Mexican descent. And I started hanging out with them and became friends. And then at 17, I was living in Big Bear, California. My parents actually left where I was raised at to get me away from the tagging and all that shit that I was doing. So they tried to get me out into a new environment. And when I went up there, I met some other people, and I started robbing houses and liquor stores and cabins and shit. And then it's like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like they set me up there to like change, but yet I got involved in more shit than I was before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, you kind of bring yourself where you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming you went to prison in California as an adult, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what was that arrest that happened that kind of sent you to prison?
Well, the initial arrest was in 1997, September, armed robbery and attempted murder. I robbed a liquor store and I stabbed the clerk, and they tried to like wash me up. They tried to throw me away for like 35 years. But my parents put up a bunch of money and got me a lawyer, and I was able to get it down to like 7.
That's crazy, man. I actually caught an armed burglary in 97 too. So small world, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. So when they ended up, I'm assuming they got you an attorney, dropped some stacks on the attorney, and did you get it to plea down? Did you get like the attempted murder off?
Yeah, it was plea bargained. I plea bargained out, so they took off the attempted murder. Um, because they couldn't find the weapon. You know, I threw the knife somewhere in a field somewhere and they couldn't find it. So they didn't really have like, you know, no evidence as far as that was concerned. So they basically just gave me armed robbery and assault. And I was able to get that sentence knocked down to like 7 years.
Damn. So you did 7 then on that?
Yeah, I did halftime. So it was my first charge. So I did half of that. So I did like 3.5. And I started off in Tehachapi, the reception center. I went to Tehachapi, and then they shot me to Jamestown. Then I went to Ironwood. I went to Centinela. I went to Calipatria. I was in all those
Damn,
places, like yeah, over the 3.5 years that I was there. But like I said, it's a gangbang culture. So when you go to prison in California, it's like either you're hooked up with somebody inside there, you know. And I come in there as a white boy with a big ass 13 tattooed on my shoulders, a big ass 13 tattooed on the back of my head. So I have a whole lot of other issues to deal with as soon as I walk on the yard.
yeah, no doubt, man. Damn, you kind of hit the tour bus, huh? You went all over Cali.
Yeah, you know what? And I always tell my wife this, and it's funny because now that I'm off parole, we get to travel to different places. And I just recently drove past Ironwood Prison on my way to Scottsdale, Arizona, and it pretty much made me break down because like the last time I was down there was on a prison bus. They gave me a tour for sure.
So what you said when you got there, you had the 13 on, on the back of your head and shit. So
Yeah.
how did that all go down when you when you first got to prison? Like, what kind of problems did you run into? I'm assuming because the white boys wanted you to rock with them and you were like, nah, I'm gonna go ride with them. And I hear that
Right.
causes a lot of issues. So what kind of issues did you go through with that?
Well, I went through a lot of issues because number one, I'm as white as you get. And but like when I went to the Arizona Boys Ranch in '94, this is before I ever went to prison. I was in the Arizona Boys Ranch for like 6 months. And you know, I met a bunch of dudes in there that were from my area that were actually from actual gangs. They were gang members from like San Gabriel Valley, different dudes, and I became friends with them. So when I came out of prison, or when I came out of the Arizona Boys Ranch, I started hanging out with them on the streets. So I'm getting tatted up, and but I was never really from an actual gang. You know what I mean? I was just running with these dudes. So when I went to prison, automatically with the tattoos that I had and the friends that I had on the streets, it's like I had to run with the Southside car, with the Surenos, and I ran with them for like my whole first term, you know. But I had a lot of issues because you have the the Nazi lowriders, the Aryan Brotherhood. You have all these different dudes in there that are like looking at me like, who the fuck is this white boy running with the essays? But yet, all my boys in there were my friends from the street, so it's like they couldn't really say shit to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you run into any violence because of that? Like them getting in their feelings about it?
Yeah, you know what, dude? When I went to Jamestown, um, what 1998, you know, I was in prison riots. It's the blacks against the Southern Mexicans, and I'm running with the Southern Mexicans, the Surenos, the Southside car. I'm running with them, and we're like in a prison riot, like on the yard, like it's like 500 dudes fighting each other at the same time, and motherfuckers that have been locked up, they know what it's like when you get involved in a race riot or a war between different races and shit in there, like it's going down. And it's like you have to do what you got to do. You know, your friends or your homeboys, your friends, you know, you're riding with them, but it's like at the same time, it's almost as if like you get mistaken for somebody else when you're riding with another car. So it was always hard for me in prison because I was a white boy running with a South Side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, man, I can't imagine. So when you went to prison, like, is California prison where, right when you get in, you got to get a shank and keep that shit on you? Like, what was the violence like besides the riots? Like, just everyday living, did you come across like a lot of shit going on in there, or could you just ride out your time?
Well, you got to remember, man, I was barely turned 20 years old, so I was scared to death when I rolled up into Tehachapi. I mean, they're taking me off the bus. I'm shackled. I walk into the reception building and I'm looking around like, what the fuck have I got myself into?
Yeah.
And when they put me in a cell, they celled me up with a white dude. And it was like it was weird for me because when I was locked up, I'm running with the South Side car, but yet I'm white. So when fucking certain races go on lockdown, they would actually open a door and let me out.
That's
So
crazy.
I could actually walk the tier and like pass dope and pass fucking shanks and shit back and forth to the homies on the fucking tier, but yet they just didn't realize like, oh, this dude shouldn't be out here. Like he's walking the tier and shit. It was crazy. So um
So
to
in some
me,
cases, you almost could slide because of that.
you know what? You know what's weird is that I actually did get to slide a few times. And finally they figured it out. Like when they looked at my paperwork, they're like, wait a second, this dude is not supposed to be out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the Mexicans are locked down, but we're letting him out, but yet he runs with them. So it was kind of fucking funny for me. So I could walk around the tier, and like I said, like dudes would be passing me balls of heroin and fucking shanks and shit, like to slide it to somebody else, pass kites back and forth across the tier, and I'll be walking around like motherfuckers. Like my homeboys was like, "How are you out? Like what the fuck?" I'm like, hey, they let me out, so it was cool. It kind of worked. It kind of worked for my advantage in one way, but then it didn't in the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what did you see in, I mean, I know you said it was corrupt, but like, what made it corrupt? Was it the officers on inmate violence? Like, what did you see as far as that goes?
You know, in my personal opinion, I don't think that every prison guard is corrupt, but there's a lot of corrupt guards there.
No
So
doubt.
it's like, they could turn a blind eye to certain things. They could they could allow you to do certain things and not even pay attention and act like it didn't happen. Whereas other guards would be like, as soon as they saw you, it's like you're
Cuff
getting
up.
busted. Yeah, you're getting busted, you're getting written up, you're getting a 115, you're going to the fucking hole, whatever the fuck. But in my opinion, I think more prison guards are corrupt than not.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
So what did the gangs have control over certain officers, or was it like, or like what gangs were running the compounds you were at when you were there?
The Aryan Brotherhood and the Mexican Mafia and the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family, like there's a lot of power structure inside a prison. Um, the last time that I went to prison, it's totally changed. Like this ain't like I'm not talking about the 80s or the 70s. I'm talking about the 90s, the early 2000s. Things have
Right.
totally changed. But I'm pretty sure that like the Aryan Brotherhood and the Mexican Mafia for sure runs everything inside the joint, dude. Like they control everything.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is in Florida, except it's the Latin Kings that usually are running compounds over here.
The Latin Kings, yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah. So when you were in there that time that we're speaking on right now, like, did you have your family that were like by your side? Did you have a girl? Like, how did you do your time on that aspect of it?
I always had my family, my sister, my mom, my dad, they was always there for me. They would come visit me no matter where I was. And I also, would hook up with a chick, obviously, just to help me get through. So like pen pal sites, I would go on pen pal
Low
sites and hook up
rider,
with somebody.
low rider.
Yeah, so I would hook up a chick on a pen pal site, and she would come visit me and give me, send me packages and send me money and send me books and CDs and all the things that I needed while I was in there. So I always had a chick for sure because I'm such a fine ass motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
So
so
what?
definitely, I did have support. I always had support in there.
Well, that's good, man. Because some when you see people, for me, when I would see people in prison, and it's usually people that have been down a long time, that are on a long bid, man, and they don't have nobody. Like when you go to get on the phone, they're looking at you and they're like, because they ain't been on the phone in 5-10 years. Like that makes you that gives you makes you feel grateful, man, to have people that are there for you. So
Yeah, because there was a lot of guys in there that that were my homies, and I used to see that they had nobody. Like their own family cut them off, and their baby's mom or whatever, or their fucking fiance, or they were getting ready to get married before they got busted. Like everybody cut them off. They didn't have nobody. So I was very lucky and fortunate to have a good family that stood by me.
yeah, no doubt, man. So when you were in that bid right there that we're talking about, what was the craziest thing you saw?
I was up in Jamestown, and back then they had weights on the yard. At some point, they took the weights off the prison yards. Actually, I think it was 2001 because I was up at CMC. I was locked up in 2001, California Men's Colony, and I remember them pulling the trucks onto the yard to take the weights off. So I remember at Jamestown, I think it was a black dude. He went over there to work out on a bench, like to bench press.
Yeah.
And a white boy had left his ID on the bench. So he was going to come back and use that bench, but he had to walk away for a second. So the black dude walked up, and I saw him like just throw the ID on the ground. And I'm thinking, oh fuck, dude, this is like disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I knew something was going to go down. So I'm just walking the yard, and I kept going back around and around in circles when you're walking. And I came back around the weight pile, and I saw this white boy grab a barbell while this dude was working out and slam it right through his forehead.
Damn, bro. He ain't even playing.
He killed the dude. The dude died right there on the bench.
Damn, that's
So I was
crazy.
like, that was like one of the first things that really like kind of shell shocked me. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, like this is some crazy shit I'm involved with. Like, it's about respect. It's about like no matter what race you are, you have to respect everybody else. And that's it. And if you don't, then you might get your life took.
Yeah, shit's real in the battlefield.
Yeah, for real.
Like California segregates the races from what I've heard and what I've seen. Now, was that going on in that bid that we're talking about then?
Definitely. Obviously you're going to be celled up with your own kind. They're not going to put a black dude in a cell with a white guy. They're not going to put a Mexican in a cell with an Asian guy or an other or a Native American. Like everybody, based on like how they write you down on paperwork, is who you're getting celled up with. So it was weird for me because obviously I'm white, but like I identified as a Sureno, as a Southern Californian Mexican, and they ask you like, so who do you want to be celled with? I said, I want to be celled with a homie.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
So when they do that in California with the segregating races, do you feel like in your opinion, for you, that it kind of makes you racist in a sense, or do you leave all that shit at the door when you get out?
Oh man, that's a great question because it definitely makes you racist.
Yeah.
To this day, I find myself thinking and saying certain shit just from being locked up for so long against other races because of my prison mentality. And it's like I think somebody posted a comment on your site the other day. It was asking about what's the worst thing to get over with or get over once you get out of prison. I believe it's that mentality, and that's what I posted. It's like trying to escape that mentality because it's so segregated, it's so racist, it's so fucking corrupt that I believe sending people to these institutions and these prisons is not making them better at all. Like there's nothing in there that they're doing to help you. Either you help yourself and you figure it out, or you're gonna come out the same fucked up person you was.
Except this time you're going to be a little more racist.
Yeah, except this time you're going to be a little more racist and maybe know how to commit better crimes.
Yeah. So your opinion is then in California, there's no rehabilitation in the prison system.
Well, it's funny because they changed it used to be CDC, the California Department of Corrections. Now it's the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. So it's CDCR. There is no rehabilitation.
Damn, that's crazy.
There's no rehabilitation. Either you take the time to work on yourself and rehabilitate yourself, or you're fucked when you get out.
Yeah, that's how it is in Florida, man. Like there ain't shit going on. The only thing going on is exactly what you just said, and that's learn how to be a better criminal. And then you get fucking PTSD from all the shit you see in there, the violence. So
it's a big money racket, bro. Like it's seriously a big money racket. The state gets so much money a month per inmate that they have locked up. And it's way more than they ever spend on you. It's way more than they ever actually use for your benefit. They are collecting a check. And that's why these prison guards out here are making over $100,000, $200,000 a year. But these inmates are coming back out to the street with $200 gate money and fucking not a pot to piss in.
So when you were in that bid right there that we're talking about, what was your mind state when you were getting released?
Oh, wow. Let me think back. I was 23 years old when I got released on my first one. You know what? I hadn't even really worked on myself. I was just hoping to get out and get some pussy, drink some beers, maybe smoke a little weed or something. I was just hoping to get out there and act a fool again. That was my mind state on that bid. I was still young. So I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, how can I go back out there and get back into the mix?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like when you're young, you really like, you don't have wisdom. You're not wise yet. You haven't really experienced anything in life. So you really don't give a fuck. So that's basically how I felt when I got out that first time.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, man. You kind of like get out, like for me, when I got out, I was like, man, now I got some prison swag. And at that age, you kind of think like, oh, now definitely some chicks are going to want to be with me. I'm a bad boy. And so you just got to go out stunting.
I thought, you know what? I thought I was a tough guy. I thought because I had been to prison that made me a man.
No doubt, man. Yeah. Over in Florida, man, I've been in county jail. And, you know, I'll be talking to someone and they're like, oh, you've been to prison? So have I. But they never even been to prison. They think by telling me that all of a sudden now they got like, they're hard now because they told me they've been to prison when really they haven't. But that's the sickness in like the youth's mind, is that like what we thought, man. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you know, when I go to prison, I'm going to be someone then. You know, really, it's the opposite.
It's absolutely 100% the opposite. But like, you know, a lot of my friends when I was growing up, you know, was told that like once you go to prison, it makes you a man or something like that. Like it makes you who you are. And I'm like, that wasn't my experience.
No doubt.
That wasn't my experience. It didn't make me more of a man. It made me more of a fucking, almost like, and no disrespect to anybody watching this video, and you know, guys that like, you know, they really like look at themselves as like, you know, because you've been to the joint for however many years that like it makes you somebody. It really don't. It don't really make you more of a man, but it just gives you some life lessons to learn. Like, you know, you need to be a productive member of society. You need to you need to hold a job down, a 9 to 5. You need to be able to take care of your family, take care of your kids, support your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. That's what makes you a man, not going to prison.
Big facts, man. So I guess the next question is, did you go back to prison after that bid? So to hear the answer to that question, you're going to need to subscribe to the channel, like the video, show some support. We're going to be coming back with part 2. And with that, it's DOC TV and we're out.